We will now open it up to questions from the audience. I know there must be some of you who wish to have. Now, is there a microphone for people asking questions? Oh, right here in the center. Okay, be courageous and come right down to the microphone and ask your question. Elise, the Litquake's very young hostess, will usher you up to the microphone.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for being here tonight. This has been a great event. I'm from the Center for the Art of Translation. So my question to you is, you are all reading translations tonight of your work, right? I assume you write in Norwegian and Swedish. So are you happy with the American versions? What kind of relationship did you have with your translator? Are there references that didn't work that you struggled with? And tell us how they came to be in English.
You chuckled, so that means you go first.
Okay, I did that because I had really filed the English version. But there are some parts that I have some darlings somewhere in my novel. So I checked up on them and we're quite happy about how that went out. So yeah, I think it's been a good work.
Now, did you know your translator, or was it just the translator was just assigned? Did you work with the person, or was there give and take, or did they just do it?
Yeah, with this English translator, we had some email correspondence, but I never had that before with okay, English is okay, but the Netherlands and Germany and there's so much language you have no idea how it turns out. So,
yes, when your work is translated into Japanese,
yeah.
You have no idea what's happening.
I work with Neil Smith, who translates my books, and we know each other by now. And they are actually different versions in the US and in the UK, because I have different editors and different publishers, and they want to kind of do different things. So I work a lot with
I was watching you were actually editing the book. No.
Yeah, I do that a lot. No, I'm very happy with my translations, and with the postcard killers, the thing that I did with James Patterson. I actually have some lines that are not translated, and they are not even Swedish. They are in a dialect from the north where I was raised, and that dialect is further from Swedish than both Danish and Norwegian. Swedish people here wouldn't understand. For example, and I'm told, all the translators in the world, these lines are not to be translated. These are going to be, that's my contribution, to this tongue that I was brought up with to world literature.
Well, with no disrespect for translations or translators, to me a translation is always like, say, a piano concert played only on the black keys of the piano. There are so many nuances that are lost, which simply has to do with the differences of our languages. I never read my novels not in Norwegian, and especially not in Japanese or Chinese. I do comprehend English, but I haven't read it, to be honest. But like when I'm asked, like tonight, to read a part, I have to, thumb through it to look for something to read. And it always strikes me, oh, I wouldn't have said it like that. I would have written it just, oh, that's not the right word. And that's how literature is. I mean, translations do lose something. But still, it's the best thing we get if we want to read it for a book.
They can actually gain.
That should be
Yeah.
helpful.
A book can gain being translated as well. Actually, it can fail and it can gain. Once I know, my French publisher actually took out half the book. I realized when I met the translator that it's so interesting that an author, lets you do that as a translator. You cut half the book, and I had no idea.
mean, it really is an art, though, because I think translating something into English, when you read it, and yet the language still retains something that, as someone from this country would read, you know, a book set in Norway or in Sweden, there's a difference in the cadence of the sentences that I can hear that the language. Whereas I might be tempted, if I was writing the same thing, I would change it. I would turn it into American language, you know, and which would be wrong, which is why I'm not a translator, obviously, because it is quite miraculous in a way to switch it into another language but retain some integrity of the original language.
But I'm very impressed when I'm reading English reviews, and it sets out, and it's very good translated. Did I know that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I have, my books have been translated into French and Japanese and things, and I have no idea, so I just ask, is this good? You know, to someone who's read it, they say, oh. They miss a few things.